Jason, welcome to the podcast, brother. It's good to have you.
Yeah, bro. Appreciate you.
It's give the community a little bit of a background on your, your story and your
Yeah.
experience. Got
Yeah.
a
Full name, Jason Wojo, been an advertiser for 6 years. Started back in local services, home services, doing like really good localized Facebook ads for a lot of home service businesses, which is great for your community because a couple of those people were solar, cabinet coating. I even did like smaller ticket stuff, barbershops, etc. I learned a lot from Ty Lopez. I took one of his programs about 6.5, 7 years ago.
nice.
Um, I first got into the online space when I was in culinary school because I was flipping Pokemon cards and I dropped out, wind up moving back home, then went to business school. That's when I found Ty Lopez's stuff. And then about a year into the business, I decided to move down to Orlando, Florida. Lived there for about 2 years. Did more local business work, a lot more lead gen. I wasn't really in the e-com space that much. A lot of stuff was just lead gen, lead nurture, lead forms on Facebook, landing pages, copy, all that fun stuff. And then I started to get a little bit more advanced, started getting into, sales team integrations, certain platforms business owners would use, sales team efficiency, calendar efficiency,
Mm.
lead nurture, etc. And then, year to date, well, not year to date, but 10 year to date, we've done, 6 years of working with 1,300 business owners. We right now have 280 active clients. We have a team of 50. We service 90 plus niches and verticals. We spent $30 million on ads. We've done $122 million online. That number hasn't been updated in months because it's in most of my ads. So I refuse to record new ads to change it, but it's probably over $150 million now. Just a kind of revenue with paid ads. And, now more of my efforts are like in the lead gen space because I'm partnered with Andy Elliott. We have a partnership. So I work with a lot of his home service clients, HVAC, solar, roofing, etc. We do a lot of lead gen for their clients and also a lot of consulting that we do inside of a mastermind that me and Andy do as well. So it's been like
Nice.
a jam-packed journey, but yeah, dude, most of my expertise is definitely in the lead gen space and obviously sales teams.
Yeah. Where do you see things going? Like that space has been blowing up. Do you do most of the like your ads on like Facebook or YouTube, or do you prioritize like one platform or the other, or are you on every platform?
So yeah, I mean, we really do harness the omnipresence, which is running every single platform, but some niches work better than others on certain platforms like solar. There's good YouTube ads that do well with solar, but cost per lead and cost per appointment is higher, but they're pre-qualified people, they've done credit checks, etc. So, or they qualify for a certain tax credit, whatever that program looks like that you're pushing people into. Um, also it's easier to target homeowners with YouTube. It's very hard to target homeowners with Facebook. Facebook's more of a social platform combined with Instagram. So more of that traffic for home services is cold, but we use a lot of retargeting on Facebook and IG because if we're running a lot of YouTube and Google search, we're driving all that traffic to a landing page. We put the Facebook pixel on it, and then we scoop them up with retargeting, usually through testimonial videos or
Nice.
like walkthrough videos, etc., or like before and afters of solar being installed, their bills before and after, stuff like that. So there's different parts of the funnel where certain messaging would make a difference. But yes, we run on multiple platforms, but some people, let's say it's solar. I've had a lot of people do very well with Facebook ads on solar. Some people not so well. It depends on zip code, depends on population, depends on
Yeah.
honestly average income. Like there's a lot of variations that will dictate also certain tax credits go to certain states and counties versus others. So
Right.
it's pretty variable
It's
with
so variable.
how those, yeah.
Dude, one thing we've
But where I,
noticed. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah, so like where I see it going,
Yeah.
dude, crazy part is that I think that more organizations have to focus way more on their sales teams and nurture and actually taking care of each lead because ad costs will continue to rise regardless of what market we're in. Yeah, we might be on the verge of some type of leveling out recession, whatever that looks like, but the dollar is not going to move much. So costs are still going to be high for ads, and it's going to force salespeople to even be better than what they are now. If there's less money in the market, less GDP, less money to spend, less spending power, then it's going to be harder for someone to really be inclined if they don't qualify for a certain tax credit to spend 30, 40, 50 grand on solar. So
Right.
it's going to require better salespeople, and that's just better culture, better training, etc.
Yeah, I love it. That's our specialty, dude. So, let me give you an example. We hired a consultant company, like a few agencies to help work with us with a coach. And in Utah specific, you know, we don't have tens of millions of people out here. And so we ran into this bottleneck of cost per lead going higher than we expected. And they kept begging us based on the algorithm, based on, you know, on how the ads worked to expand our demographic. And we're like, we can't do like it's not near as optimal to sell somebody that's 150 miles away. That's 50 miles, you know, it's just not optimal. And with our current business model, it doesn't work as well. So I can't be the only one in that situation. What do you advise in people like in my situation that are in smaller demographics? Maybe they're not California, New York, Florida, or Texas.
Yeah, I mean, dude, biggest thing, like, this is where this might not be the easiest answer that you were expecting, but like, that's usually an inclining that the market is telling you something. So
Mm,
like, I work with a lot of businesses that only have one location, and I force them to open up more. Like,
interesting.
if the market's telling you like, hey, you're in Utah and you're having high CPMs and high cost per lead, at some point you're gonna have to build a sales team somewhere else. You're gonna
Yeah.
be forced to grow without, you know, like, outside of your demo. Like that happened with a podcast studio that I partnered with. Like, we have a lot of clients here, but they were like, hey, our ad costs are dry. There's not a lot of people to target anymore. Okay, cool. We got to find another location. And at first he was like, oh, dude, that's going to cost a lot, startup, blah, blah, blah. The market's forcing you to grow because you're having a heightened lead cost. I mean, yeah, dude, you could go door to door and keep doing door to door and keep doing a lot of follow up and nurture, but at some point, man, the market's going to tap. Like, you can't sell people a roof twice without waiting 20 years or 30 years. And maybe
Right.
you give them a lifetime warranty. Who the hell knows? But like, those things are going to dictate your market share and how you move.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
one thing we there's less than, you know, 4% of the population of the United States that has solar. So like we're not even close to saturating the industry, but I know what you're saying. So summarizing what you're saying is don't change the marketing, change the market.
yeah. Like, if I was like, all right, let's say for example, right, walk me through the numbers. Like, what's your cost per lead?
Yeah, cost of acquisition is the main number I focus on. And it was higher than we want, about 1,800 to 2,000. And in Utah, we're already skating on smaller margins. So as a company, like, is it profitable?
So
Yeah,
what's your
but
margin? What's your average ticket?
like for net company profit, about 2,400 for net. A gross payout for sales reps and everything, like 4 to 6,000.
Okay. So you're left with 2,400 bucks and you're spending 1,800 right now.
Yeah. So we pump the brakes and like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, that's pretty close. So that dictates to me that either your creative can be improved. Like, you got to look at the small levers inside of the ad account that would dictate you to have a cheaper cost. So
Okay.
I would look at first, like, what are your creatives? What are your click-through rates? What are your CPCs? Okay, are they
Okay.
really, really high? Are they low, but people are going to an application form? Or maybe the sales rep isn't calling that fast. Like, speed to lead is massively important. You have to really track how fast you're actually calling leads. Because I went into court, like, I went into a lot of organizations where they always tell me, oh, I call people within 10 minutes. And I'm like, dude, it's got to be less than 5. It's
Mm,
got to be fast. Like,
yeah.
it does not
Speed.
matter. Yeah, dude, if you get to the lead between 5 minutes, you automatically get a higher reply rate. It goes up like 80% by like just simply calling them within 5 minutes. So that's number one. Number two is this is something that we had to do inside of our business, was that, yo, we had a lot of reps, but dude, a lot of reps didn't dictate revenue. Like, if I
Yep.
could take my best performing sales reps and put them in certain zip codes versus just getting a fuck ton of people to say that I have a big team,
Yeah.
it's a big difference.
Yeah.
So like, optimizing the calendar and optimizing that booking system, you should be able to cut your costs just by doing those two things by maybe 7 to 10% right there. So now
Yeah.
you're
I agree.
at $1,600 cost per acquisition. Okay, if your creatives are better, are you shooting testimonial videos with homeowners? Are you
Yeah.
doing it right after the job? Maybe you're not. Maybe you are. Like, what is the copy? What's the offer? Like, all
Right.
these things dictate your success with ad costs. But at a $2,400 profit margin, I mean, you're at 1,800. if you switch to another platform, it's not really going to change anything. You got to really
Right.
harness what you're doing on the front end on Facebook and Instagram to be able to dictate you better results.
Yeah, I like it. Um, yeah, we're big on reps over, sorry, results over reps. I see so many companies just get like, hey, we have 50 salespeople, we got 200 salespeople. It's like, dude, who cares? Like, what are your numbers? I'd rather
Yeah.
say have a small team of salespeople, which we do, like 10 to 15 people. We do on pacing for 20 to 30 million revenue, right? That's
Yeah.
a much bigger flex in my book of efficiencies because then it shows we've got a system that we can duplicate, scale out to 100 million, right? So our thing has just been door to door. So this is an area where we have not mastered. So our game plan, Jason, tell me what you think, was saturate Utah with our current strategy. We have doing very well. It's working, right? Direct sales. And we wanted to pull on like my vision after running out a demo trial phase for about 6 months was just too much managed with everything else going on. So I'm like, hey, let's pull on a leader that has experience, I'm like you, to do in-house and build that out from within. What do you recommend for smaller businesses or, maybe even sales reps that are high level sales reps? What's the way they get started? Do they start by hiring an ad agency? Like, do they have to test other markets? What do you recommend? How do they get started?
So biggest thing is like when you're about to spend money on ads, I'm just a firm believer that after seeing so much ad spend, man, the answer is not always more traffic because most people are not ready for more traffic. They say they are. They're like, hey, I'm a sales rep. I need more leads. They start running ads and then they start to realize, hey, like I'm spending a lot of money on ads. My margins are lower. I can make more money through referrals and organic and still door knock. I'm just going to give up on this. So
Mm,
that's number one. Number two is you need an actual process set up for a lead to come in. Yes, paid is way different than organic. So if they're sitting there going, hey, like most of my leads are ready to buy and they came from a referral. Okay, that's not the same way that a lead who comes from a paid ad is managed. A
right.
lead who comes from paid ads requires way more attention, more product knowledge, more nurture, etc. Also, if I'm going to run ads, I would walk a whole neighborhood and I would just put the ad in that small neighborhood. You can do that on Facebook. Like, let's say you have an address in a community.
Yeah.
You take the address in a community and you run a 1 mile radius ad for $20 a day. And you literally make the ad say, hey, I just recently walked your neighborhood and was trying to get you to switch to solar. Here's some more information on why you should rethink that decision. And that ad just runs at $20 a day and just lets it rock. And you just hit multiple communities and you do like small geo targeting.
Oh,
So when
that,
people think about ads, they're like, oh yeah, I'll run a 50-mile radius ad. Okay. But it'd be more personalized if you put the address of the thumbnail, like the thumbtack on the map, put the address in Facebook and did a 1 mile radius ad. You would get better results because people would recognize your face and you can run it.
right.
Oh, and it would be more native to them.
That's fantastic advice, especially for a lot of guys that already do door to door. Now, from my understanding, the playing devil's advocate with that, the cost goes up drastically to narrow down that demographic, right?
Yeah,
Um,
it does. It just depends on the CPM and the actual creative. Like if you have a good creative and your click-through rates are high, let's say you're spending more, but your click-through rate, because it's such a small mile radius, goes up to 10,
yeah,
then it doesn't matter. Cost versus CTR and CPC will dictate the success of the campaign. Like I'd rather pay like let's say you're paying out a rep 4 to 6 grand on a sale.
yeah,
Okay. You're paying them 4 to 6 grand. Me personally, dude, I would spend $2,000-3,000 to get a customer.
yeah. Oh,
Why
absolutely.
not?
Right.
So I would run that shit up. And then if I
Okay.
get one new person a day, I'm making 2 grand a day. I'm making 60 grand a month. So that's the way that I would look at it. So
That's
that's
great.
thing too, like sales reps before they start spending money on their own ads, dude, they first of all have to realize that like they have to be really good on camera. That's number one. Number two is that they have to be okay with spending more money to acquire the customer. A lot of people who are sales reps who we have worked with in the past who decide to run their own ads, they get so like micromanaging about spending a couple $100 when they're getting
Right.
4 grand on a sale. And it's like, dude, what?
Do the math.
Okay.
Yeah.
You would have got the customer, you wouldn't have not. Like, what are you mad about? So
Right.
it's more of a mindset thing too, before they even get into spending money.
That's great. What's a realistic number? Like $20 per day doesn't sound like it. That sounds too low for like a small 1 mile radius.
I mean, well, a 1 mile radius is going to have a population of maybe 10 to 15,000 people. You're not going to need that much spend to hit 10 to 15,000 people. You could spend 20 bucks a day for a whole month and you could touch a good amount of impressions, depending on what your cost per 1,000 impressions is. If your cost per 1,000 impressions is $100, that means you're gonna pay, that's per 1,000. So you're gonna pay $100, 1,000, 15,000 people. You're just spending $1,500 to reach 15,000 people.
Okay.
So with that being said, it's like, it depends on what your cost per 1,000 impressions are.
Okay.
Like, even if that's the case, though, if I reach 15,000 people in a 1 mile radius and I hit 3 communities, I can't get one person to buy,
Right.
so
Yeah.
that's the math. And if you spend $1,500 to get a sale, you keep the other 3,500.
Yeah, that's solid. What for the ads, like what do you recommend running these ads for? Like just for a newbie starting out, like they make their own ad, do they go to a consulting agency? What do they do?
I would just honestly have them make their own ad. For them to launch their own ad, that's like a lead form based ad. They don't need an agency. And dude, I run an agency and I'm actually anti-agency.
Wow.
It's funny, but like, we are mostly working with established businesses that can spend $500 or more a day. They're looking to scale. They don't care about going into their pockets. They're real businesses. If you're just being a sales rep and you're just starting out, like, no, just go on YouTube and find how to launch your first lead form campaign, get a nice video, pay a videographer $500, have them walk the neighborhood with you, pay them $500 for the day, get a shit ton of content, spice it up, find a video editor for $100, and then you have your ad and you have a really good creative, and then getting ad copy written is not that difficult.
What makes the good like ad video? Like we've got tons of content with us knocking and selling and everything. Like what's the psychology of like start hook,
Yeah. So the
for
first thing
solar, for example.
Yeah, first thing is always congruency. So, hey, let's say right now I'm in Scottsdale. Okay. Hey, Scottsdale homeowners. That's the first part, which is resignation. So that people who are listening are like, oh shit, I live there. Second is the hook, which is the curiosity point of what your offer is. So, like, hey, we're helping homeowners in blah blah community get no money down solar using this little known tax credit, blah 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 blah. Right. And it won't require you to do X and Y and Z. So if you're interested in that, here's what your savings would look like. We took Teresa's bill from $280 a month to $180 a month by switching to solar. She paid nothing out of pocket. And here's Teresa to tell you how it went. Then it's him and Teresa talking. And then you can go into the CTA, which is the call to action. Hey, if you want, Teresa is in blah, blah, blah community. If you want to get no money down solar, I have to see if you qualify first. So click the link below. I'm going to ask you a couple quick questions about your home. And then we'll see if you qualify, and I'll be reaching out shortly. And that's really all the ad is.
Okay. So basically you're doing, hey to specific demographic, identifying your client, and then you do a hook and then you give an example with a client. Is that what that is?
Because that's just like a case study. So like if you don't have a case study, you're going to spend more money on ads convincing people on why they should buy.
Yeah. Is that to do like leverage social proof and bandwagoning? Is that the goal? Okay.
Because, well, no, it's also the congruency piece too, because let's say Teresa, if I run that ad in a 1 mile radius and I'm like, hey, Teresa lives in Woodland Homes Estates, let's say some random ass thing. Other people who see that ad are like, yo, I live there. I know Teresa. I've seen her husband outside mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
Like I've seen Teresa. So, dude, it's the congruency that will get them to go over the edge. You're like, hey, I saw the ad with Teresa. My kids play with their kids.
Interesting.
She never told me she was just a solar. I want to switch now.
Right. Dude, I think my limiting belief behind this was the lack of information, understanding like the cost of acquisition would be higher if we tried to go off of a specific radius like that. But I could see why the conversions would be higher because you're hitting it better, right? And so although
do you have multiple sales reps knock the same door?
Not in the same, like within the same, month or two. Yes. Like, or the same summer or yeah, absolutely. In the same like 6-month time period. Yeah.
Okay. How frequently?
Probably ever like knock the same door. Like actually they talk to somebody, get rejected probably every 6 months because we have like over 600,000 homes, and for us to hit all that, we've got plenty of area before we're re-knocking.
Okay. One thing I would suggest is that I
saturate.
Well, no. What I would do is there's one thing that I took from Grant Cardone that works very, very well, which is when you buy something from him, you get 5 calls a day and it's all from different people. And hearing a different voice and seeing a different face actually builds way more authority and social proof. They make
Um,
more money by having different people say the same shit than they do by having one person call you on day 1 and then day 7 and then day 14. What I would personally do is, man, and I would test this, is in your community, I would have somebody knock a door on Monday. If they get denied, who cares? We're going to send somebody
yeah,
on Wednesday. You knock it on Wednesday, say, hey, did my buddy come over the other day? I want to make sure that you were taken care of.
nice.
And if they get rejected
Interesting.
again, Friday. Like, dude, I'm telling you right now, the smaller the sales cycle is, the less friction you're going to have.
Huh. Yeah,
And it also shows a massive amount of authority because what are they thinking now? Damn, I had one person come by. I didn't trust him. He
right,
looked like a solo guy. He's got a team member too. They have
yeah,
a big team. Oh, they got a third. This is a
right.
real company. They're not full of shit.
Yeah, as
That's
long
the
as
authority piece. It's all social proof.
I agree, as long as the answer to the door, I think the answer rate would go down a little bit, you know, from we see about a 25% answer rate, 20, yeah, it'd probably drop to 15% just because of saturation. That's one con we've noticed. But I
Yeah.
love that. I see if they answer the door, I think there is more authority if you do it right.
Right, dude, a really good example of this, and this is like real numbers, is even my own business. I had 6 reps, 2 setters. Okay.
Okay.
Dude, we had 4 reps take calls. If someone said no on the phone, 2 reps would play shovel. We
Hmm.
recently implemented this. We went from like, dude, we were doing about maybe 680K a month. We went to 800K a month by implementing the fucking 2 closers who would second call the person who didn't want to buy.
How do they approach it when they call the new guys
Said,
call?
hey, we're doing it's like a feedback call. So we say, hey, listen, we saw you had your call with Justin. How did it go? Cool. Did you have any questions for me? Because I saw you didn't move forward with a package. Maybe he didn't answer all your questions. I want to make sure that you get the service that you deserve. And then you're just building the
Nice.
rapport again, and you're finding the objection. You're isolating the shit again.
Nice. That's
But,
solid, dude. That's a
dude, it
golden
really it
nugget.
really helped us out a ton because a second voice mattered. Uh,
That's a golden nugget, bro. That's awesome. I just
so you do
bolded
it as
that.
a feedback call. It's like a quality assurance. That's basically
Yeah, that's so clever. I love that, Jason. Okay, dude, what other questions, what other blind spots am I hitting on? This is not a field of expertise for me, so this is so valuable to me into the community. I think it's fantastic.
yeah. So the other thing that I would really want to talk about is I think a big thing in the sales rep space is regardless of like people making money and getting commissions, why do you see a big turnover with sales reps? Because I would assume like this might be an issue for you guys, but for other people who are listening, there is an issue in the space right now with sales reps having some type of turnover and not making the money that they want. And here's my honest opinion is that if you don't require your salespeople or you don't require them to do training or you don't require them to spend money on their own ads, they will forever be intrinsically dependent on you. And
Mm,
you're going to get the most motivated salespeople from people who want to put their own money up. Like our guys, they buy tickets to go to trainings and events and stuff. And those are the
yeah, us
biggest
too.
earners.
Yep, same.
So
Yeah.
like if they're not want to put up their money for ad spend, they're complacent. They're not going
Mm,
to strive for the right culture and environment that the organization is looking for. And I see
dude.
this a lot in the space. It's just like it's the truest shit that would offend some sales reps because they're like, "Oh, I'm making $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
Why do I need to invest in myself?" To be honest, bro, $500,000 a year ain't shit. It's
Yeah.
really not a lot of money. And
Yeah.
no one's going to want to hear that because, oh, dude, the 400 grand a year was the 1% thing from 7 to 10 years ago is now, in my opinion, 1.2, $1.3 million. Like I
Yeah.
just, dude, the standards that we set in our company are just like really high for reps who want to grow and obviously scale and et cetera. So it was this thing where when you don't have this motivated culture, you also don't motivate everybody else to do the other shit too. Like
Right.
I always wanted people to be motivated in the organization because if they're spending money on ads, they start making more money. What does that make everybody else do? Yo, Jerry just closed a fucking 4K commission off a Facebook lead. I got to run ads now.
Yeah.
And then he's
Dude,
doing it, and then he's doing it, and then he's doing it. And then
it
your whole
spreads.
organization is giving you free marketing.
Yeah, that's amazing, dude. There's self accountability there. It promotes the law of the buy-in. It also extinguishes entitlement, which entitlement I call it the E word for sales. It will ruin cultures,
Mhm.
and so that does a lot. That's solid. A very good piece of advice there. I love that. Super valuable. What else?
Like,
What? Yeah,
like the other thing too to really keep in mind is it's like in a world, and this is a thing outside of ads, in a world full of political bullshit and opinions, we
yeah,
need more leaders than ever. And dude,
right.
like sales is a great place to start. Like
Well said.
it's always the number one skill I always recommend everybody get into. Because if you could sell, bro, you can make 10K a month like it's water. Like
Yeah,
it's not a hard niche to make money in.
it's
But what
easy.
I will say is that the way that you lead in your sales orders is the way that you lead at home.
Yep.
We need better dads. Like, dude, all this shit in the world right now is predicated on men just being better leaders and
Yeah.
women too. And we need to really step up. I think it's massively important.
Well, dude, I think sales is a gateway for entrepreneurship, but you learn how to, you learn or you don't learn how to manage yourself, manage your time, manage your energy and your attitude and efforts, right? And the ceiling's uncapped potential for salespeople, and it comes down to how much you want to invest. So I think it's phenomenal training ground for a lot of things in life.
Yeah.
So dealing with people, especially too, how to communicate, win people over is a phenomenal skill. So, Jason, this has been amazing, brother. Thank you. I'm trying to think of other questions that people might have from our community or from our company regarding your superpower of running ads and marketing. So we hit on yeah,
Anybody who's listening to this wants to reach out, ask me questions, whatever it looks like, just
send me
shoot
a
me
DM.
a DM on Instagram at the
Yeah,
Jason Woj. I'm happy to answer any questions people have.
love it. I appreciate that, man. Um, and then same YouTube. Find you on YouTube.
Yeah, it's Jason Wojo official, and
Cool.
then TikTok, Jason Wojo, LinkedIn as well, Jason Wojo. So yeah, I'm on every single platform. Yeah,
Perfect. Perfect. I figured we got omnipresence over there.
yeah.
Hey, brother, this is great. Any last piece of advice for people getting started or for people wanting to take the next level?
I mean, dude, biggest thing I'd say is like, the people who are willing to put money in themselves and what they're doing in their business are just going
Yeah.
to win, because I can see a certain buying behavior happening in the market right now. It's taking us longer to close leads. Ad spend isn't going as far as we'd like. It's this thing
Yeah.
where we're like, dude, you got to really invest in either your team or new skills or new systems and processes and better leadership, because organizations are going to crumble during this time.
Well said.
Yeah,
And
man.
that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity for people to rise. Every contraction creates opportunities to grow. So last thing, how can you identify markets quickly when you're trying to expand or test markets? Like if
The best way to test markets is always with the offer. Like, I know it's a vague statement, but when I look at what a business offers on the front end and they're running ads with it, if you can take that offer, and I would just test multiple cities, multiple states. Like, dude, we do a lot of that shit now where we test certain cities. Like, I'm doing this huge arbitrage right now where I'm buying domains of different cities with our shit on the end. So like, for example, we're buying domains like floridamarketingagency.com, orlandomarketingagency.com, Phoenix marketing agency, and we're running micro websites and we're running small ads with them to see which ones have the best clients and which
Interesting.
ones have the best lead costs. We're doing these tests to find if there's new markets available for us to go into.
That's
Because then
solid.
we could start making micro ads. Like, hey, if you're an HVAC company in Phoenix, here's what we can do for you. If you're a roofing company in Orlando, here's what we can do for you. And then we have predicated data that backs an actual KPI of why we should be spending money there or running an event there, or whatever that looks like.
Oh, I like it. Dude, it's so good. So good. Gold nuggets. Dude, the 1 mile radius thing was a game changer for me. And then, having different sales reps come back and repeatedly hit the same lead at come as a feedback. Oh, just absolute gold nugget. So thank you. Thank you for sharing this stuff. You helped hit a lot of blind spots for me. And I know if you hit some for me, you definitely hit some for some other sales reps and leaders out there. So Jason, you are a stud. Keep crushing out there. Excited to see what you guys do with Elliot. That's awesome partnership. I'm excited for you guys there. Dude, if you're ever up in Utah, come visit us. I'd love to connect with you.
Yeah, of course, bro. Well, I appreciate your time, man. It's been awesome.
Likewise. Appreciate it, man.
Peace, bro.
See you.